Welcome to Nimble Minds Talks of Self and Spirituality, where we talk about different philosophical perspectives as well as spiritual practices. And today, when it comes to the philosophy, I'm going to be giving just my own perspectives and ideas on things financially. Now, the reason I'm even talking about finances is because I was watching uh, this YouTuber earlier, and it's a great channel, and I was just having a great time laughing. But although I was laughing, he was talking about some really important things, I believe, at least when it comes to finances and even just living your life. And it was great. I was laughing, having a great time. And just to keep it simple, a perspective I had just growing up and seeing different financial situations that people can get themselves into. I've gotten myself into one thing that has been simple for me, is if you don't have to pay for what you don't owe, right? Growing up and seeing a lot of things, I've been able to just come to that conclusion. It's a simple conclusion and straight to the point. You don't pay for what you don't owe. Well, what does that mean? How is this actually applied, right? Because knowledge that is not applied is useless, right? Right? Well, this is how you can apply it. Let's say I'm gonna go to a car because a lot of people like cars. I'm into cars, right? Cars are cool. They can make loud noises and things like that, but cars can be cool. So, when it comes to a car, there's probably a nice, let's just say, a big truck or something that you might want, and you may not have the money for it. Now, me, if there's a car that I want and it's a truck, let's just say it's a truck for like 60,000. That's a good median, like a middle point right there. 60,000. I'll get you a good quality truck, right? 60,000. And you don't have to pay that much for a good quality truck in all actuality, but let's just say that's where you're at, right? You're getting a luxury $60,000 truck, right? For me, if I don't have the money, or if I know that in the future there's no way I'm going to actually be able to pay this off, right, consistently, I'm just not gonna buy it. I don't got it. I'm broke in that moment. It is what it is. I don't have the funds. I'm not trying to show off for anybody. All right, that's just my philosophy when it comes to it. And how have I got this philosophy? Well, I'll tell you right now. Growing up, and even still now, I'm not perfect. Not gonna sit here and talk like that, but I was into a lot of things that were expensive, right? Because that's what you're led to believe a lot of times is the more expensive it is, the higher quality, which is not always the case. Yes, it can be the case sometimes, but it's not always the case. Okay, a lot of times it's marketing. A lot of times it's people literally just lying. A lot of times they're just trying to make money. That's what it is, and that's where you have to be careful, because sometimes you're not even paying for the quality. You're not paying for the just the experience. You're paying for a name, and you're paying for something that, because it was marketed so heavily, there was probably money that went into the marketing, so now you have to recoup on the back end of that. So you're probably paying for a lot of other stuff that is not just the product. Okay, so I realized that, and that's why when it came to things like shoes, when it came to things like uh cars, when it came to things like just certain material things, right? I was like, you know what? There's a lot of things I don't actually think I need, right? So, because I used to be into things like Jordans, and these are just the shoes that are common for me, right? These are like the shoes, right? Jordans and Nikes, and you got to have the latest kicks, the latest kicks for the latest fix, whatever you want to say. You got to have the latest kicks to be standing out and fit in, right? But that is the farthest thing from the truth. That's the worst lie I've ever heard in my life. The truth is, no one cares. All right, the only person that really cares is you, and that's why you're doing those things. So when you come to that realization about certain things, it makes a lot of things simple, because and it makes it easier to save money financially as well. Because now you just need to ask yourself, do you want this and do you need this? And if the answer is no, then just don't get it. If you need it, okay, no. Do you want it? No. Then just don't buy it, don't get it. But that goes into another issue, which is hive mentality in America, that's where I'm at. But the hive mentality, that's what that goes into. Because a lot of times you have not only the media, but then you have other people that have been consuming it. And maybe you have other people that have maybe even bought into that lifestyle, bought into that lie, in my opinion, that you need all these things to be this certain way, or you need to act this way to be received like this. And ask yourself a simple, all you have to do is ask. That's why I'm a big proponent and ask questions. If anybody ever tells you to not ask any questions, I mean, I wouldn't, unless you already know the answer. But if you don't know, then ask a question. Okay, questions are great. So ask that question. Do I need this? No. Okay, do I want this? No. Okay, then that should be enough for you. But that's not enough. Then ask yourself this: what is this bringing to my life that I don't have now, that's going to change it so drastically that I'm going to waste this money on it? And if the answer is nothing, then you probably shouldn't buy it. Okay, you probably shouldn't buy it. And this is coming from my perspective of, like, after you have all the bills paid and everything taken care of, then you're even having this conversation. Because like I said, I'm into video games. So I'm telling you right now, that's where a good amount of my money's going. After the bills are paid and after the necessary things are taken care of, that's where some of the money's going. I'm just being real. But whatever your situation is, however you're set up, those are the questions you should be asking yourself. Because a lot of times in the society that we're in, people are more focused on getting to the money, getting to the bag, getting to the cash, all this green money, cash. And they think they have to just make more money. And that's not always the answer. Yes, if you make more money, what I'm saying, you could probably pay off more debts and do things like that. Or if that's what you're thinking about, maybe you just want to buy more stuff. Yes. But just reverse the thinking of that. And instead of making more money, what if you just owe people nothing? Like, what if you just don't owe anybody anything? Like, if you think like that as well, then you're already going to have more money because you're not paying it to unnecessary things anyway. So that's also a good way to think as well. Because a lot of people are like, they get beat up. They didn't get this high paying position. They didn't get this high paying job. They didn't get this, and that. Well, then the other question is, what's your debt looking like? How much stuff are you owing? Do you owe the IRS this? Do you owe people this? That's a good question to ask, because as soon as you get your debt to, I'm going to put a number on it. I'll say your debt is under 10,000. Your debt is under like 5,000. Then you should be, that's a good position. You want to get it to zero. You don't want to owe anybody anything. And once you get to zero, then in America, which is the land of debt, right? You're pretty much on top of the world, if you ask me. If you don't owe anybody anything, no debt, oh my goodness, is it heaven on earth? If you ask me, right? But that is just my perspective. And I realize that my perspective is not something that is within a high mentality of America in general. It's mostly consume, consume, consume. What do I mean by that? You just have to have the latest thing. It's consumerism, okay? You have to have the latest thing. And if you don't have this, then you're not that guy. It's a competition to be that guy. Are you this guy? Do you walk this way? Are you this tough guy? Do you have buy this money? Do you buy that? And once again, let's answer that question by the system, right, that I already put in place. So you're going to ask yourself, do I need this? Okay, the answer is yes or no. Let's say the answer is no. Okay, well, then that's a really big one. Now, do you want this? Okay, if the answer is no, then that's a really big one. Okay, so then that should already answer it for you. All right, you don't need it. You don't want it. So then just don't do it. Okay. And then once again, if that doesn't work, then you have the second line of questions that you ask yourself. Is this going to add any enhancement or anything to my life that's valuable? No, then, okay, what are we even talking about here? Okay. So, in my opinion, the sooner you realize that, the better off you'll be, not just in general when it comes to finances, but even in life. Because in America, which is a capitalistic society, which means what? It's ran by money. It's ran by capital. That's what's on a lot of people's mind here in America, is getting to that money, getting to the next thing, okay? I can just tell you right now, I can already envision it, right? This is how it goes for a lot of people. And you have an idea of what you want, right? You start off young, happen to be, you need to have all this stuff, you need to have all this money. That's not true. That's just not true. You do not need to have all that. I'm gonna be, maybe that's just my perspective, right? Maybe I'm just not that guy. I'm a lame. I can be called that. I'll take it. I'm not gonna get mad. But that's what's pushed. You need to have all of these material things, this house, this car, you know what I'm saying? And for what? Just ask yourself that, for what? All right. Once you actually like put the phone down, right? Put the phone down. Ask yourself, what do you really want out of life? What do you really want out of life? Okay. And that should make things a lot more simple for you. Okay. So that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.